Fargo is losing the fight of its life as the Great Plains flooding just keeps on coming, and it's a long way from over. Newt Gingrich comes up with a novel way to pay his fine, a $300,000 loan from his friend Bob Dole. Unusual terms. NBC News In Depth tonight. Families struggling to save their children from the ravages of asthma, a rapidly growing problem.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. In that flat part of America where the Dakotas and Minnesota come together, it has been a brutally long winter, and now an even more cruel spring. For the flooding rivers simply will not stop rising. Now, the critical time is here for North Dakota's largest city. You're looking now at downtown Fargo, where, as NBC's Jim Avila tells us tonight, it is going to be a very long weekend.
This is what Fargo feared most in its battle against the Red River. Protective dikes pounded by the pressure of a rising river. Day after day, Fargo is sinking into a vast lake, one backyard, one street at a time.
These dikes can withstand for a couple of days. They can't stand for a couple of weeks.
As the sun rose over Fargo this morning, few had slept. The sound of a rising Red River kept North Dakota's largest city awake and alert.
Good evening, ma'am.
National Guard units walked the streets, warning that it was time for some to stop the fight and leave.
Your signal for an evacuation is going to be air horns.
By morning, flooded families were trudging toward helicopter rescues. 80 miles to the north, Grand Forks is in equal trouble. The town's 50,000 residents in danger because the main dike is breached in 4 spots. 900 people, including Nancy Thompson, have been asked to leave their homes.
I'm just trying to get everything out, so all I have to do is just take myself and I'll be gone.
In Grand Forks, volunteers are topping off crumbling dikes at a rate of 175 sandbags a minute.
We've got a leak down here with a tie wall that just will never go away.
And back in Fargo, there is still plenty of fight. Jim Haar is packing valuables as he watches river water rush through his failing sandbag dam.
Now it's getting to be a personal battle. It's us against the river.
But mental health experts have noticed a change in Fargo's morale. Long hours and now defeat undercutting the spirit.
In this particular situation, people just don't know when it's going to be over.
The National Weather Service says the record crest is likely to hold another 4 to 5 days, putting even more pressure on the dikes and the people who are building them.
I've talked to people out there on the dikes, and they have told me they are not going to let those dikes fail. They'll work until they can't work anymore. You know, so if we do lose this thing, we're losing going down fighting.
A war against the elements. North Dakotans say they are willing to fight backyard by backyard on the flattest and now the wettest place on earth. Jim Avila, NBC News, Fargo.
In the Rocky Mountain West tonight, the Air Force has all but shut down its search for that missing A-10 Thunderbolt and its pilot. Air Force officials think they know what happened. Others also think they know. And there's a big gap between them. Here's NBC's Roger O'Neill.
The Air Force has exhausted its list of the most likely places to look for the missing warplane. Despite 4 straight days of good weather, pictures from spy planes and satellites, helicopter and ground searches, there are no solid clues as to the whereabouts of the A-10 Thunderbolt and its pilot, Captain Craig Button. Still, officials say they are almost 100% sure the jet crashed somewhere around New York Mountain at about 1:40 in the afternoon 15 days ago. Their best evidence comes from 2 independent radar records, from a ground station near Denver and from an Air Force radar plane flying over southern Colorado, which showed at the same time the plane's last known location. There was also a military spy satellite orbiting at 22,000 miles, which recorded a hot flash in the mountains also at that same time.
We have fires, smoke, glows, infrared events, aircraft terminating in this area, and certainly we have run the fuel figures numerous times, and we keep coming up with the same answer. There was not really enough fuel to fly very much further away from here.
The military has all but ruled out the possibility the pilot landed the plane at a private airstrip, although more than a dozen of those locations are being rechecked today.
You've got mail.
Whatever the military may think, on the internet, conspiracy theories abound, including a government plot to blow up the plane and blame the militia movement. There are also messages written in strange codes to the lost pilot. The Air Force insists it's not calling off the search yet. With the exception of one helicopter flight today, only civilians, Civil Air Patrol planes were flying.
About a dozen aircraft a year go down in Colorado's mountains, and usually one isn't found until later. That may be the case with the A-10. The Air Force may have to wait until late July or August when enough snow melts before they can find their aircraft.
By Monday, if there are still no clues, the search will be halted. The mountains have a long history of keeping secrets, and this week, they have given up nothing. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Eagle, Colorado.
There was another incident involving an Air Force A-10 today near Fort Stewart, Georgia. An A-10 crashed during a training run, but the pilot in this case was able to eject safely. There's no word yet on what caused that crash. When NBC Nightly News continues, Speaker Gingrich takes out a loan to pay his ethics fine. His banker, a guy from Kansas named Bob Dole. Also tonight, NBC News In Depth. A condition that plagues thousands of families in this country, asthma.
Just over 1 in 10 of the patients that we treat here is for asthma.
Asthma is frightening, it's sometimes deadly, and it's part of a mean season of allergies, especially for children. An in-depth report. Later, lavish gambling trips to Las Vegas, you paid for them. Another fleecing of America.
Hey, keeping in shape? Uh-huh. You know, Columbia has lots of ways for seniors to stay healthy. They've got nutrition experts, geriatric specialists, cardiac specialists. They even fill prescriptions. Pretty much whatever you need, they've got it. Thanks for the tip. No problem. So how far are you guys going?
About 6 miles.
Huh. Well, you go on ahead. I've got some interviews. I used to play ball.
My doctor said I didn't need surgery for my hemorrhoids, and to use Preparation H. For my problem, Preparation H is so effective. It helps relieve all these symptoms. Yet it's so gentle, it soothes and protects. More people trust doctor-recommended Preparation H.
Sounds pretty big for something so little, huh? Same idea with Sunsweet bite-sized pitted prunes. Sweet little prunes that are anything but little when it comes to taste. Sunsweet pitted prunes, always a sweet idea.
People frown about all sorts of things. Sometimes it's about money. But one thing that won't cost you a lot is the Lumina from Chevrolet. For starters, Lumina is the most affordable 6-passenger car in its class. It costs $2,000 less than a Taurus GL. And for a short time, Lumina also comes with 4.8% GMAC financing. For you, that's a lot less to worry about. So see your Chevy dealer for a Lumina and give your face a rest. The cars more Americans trust.
From Washington tonight, when we last left Newt Gingrich, the Speaker of the House, he was still looking for the right way to pay off his $300,000 fine for ethics violations. Suddenly, one of his old Republican Party adversaries, check in hand, Bob Dole. NBC's Lisa Myers tonight.
It was a stunning development on a day already fraught with drama. The embattled speaker said that legally he could have used campaign money or other contributions to pay the penalty. But as Speaker, he had a higher responsibility.
That I have a moral obligation to pay the $300,000 out of personal funds, that any other step would simply be seen as one more politician shirking his duty and one more example of failing to do the right thing.
Gingrich also concluded that any other step might be political suicide. But his wife, Marianne, opposed wiping out their modest holdings to pay the fine. So Gingrich needed a loan. That's when Dole came to the rescue. The loan was Dole's idea.
I'm a good Republican. I hope my integrity is intact, and I want to help the party and help Newt. Let's move on with the Republican agenda.
Dole says all of the loan will come from personal savings and earnings from his 30 years in the Senate, and more recently, the $500,000 he made on this commercial.
Take a check.
Of course, Bob.
Dole claims this is not a sweetheart deal, that Gingrich could have done better at a bank. The $300,000 loan carries a 10% annual interest rate. No payments are required for 8 years, 2 years after Gingrich has said he'll step down as Speaker. But if he waits that long, the interest will push the cost to more than $600,000. Gingrich again said he was deeply sorry for his mistakes. In January, he admitted bringing discredit on the House. Today, he seemed to minimize his wrongdoing.
They have been errors of implementation, but never of intent.
Still, Republicans were enormously relieved.
This was a terrific decision, but a very painful one for him and for all of his friends.
Some Democrats shook Gingrich's hand after the speech. Most went back on the attack.
Very few Americans who walk in a bank, get a $300,000 loan, not paying anything on it for 8 years. Can you imagine that? That's pretty sweet to me.
Though the speaker is still being investigated by the IRS, Gingrich now hopes this crisis is behind him and that he's on the road to political rehabilitation. Even with friends like Dole, it will be a long, uphill journey. Lisa Myers, NBC News, the Capitol.
Meanwhile, in Grand Rapids, Michigan today, 3 former presidents got together to rededicate the expanded Gerald Ford Museum. All 3 said they are disappointed in what they see as a breakdown in civility in Washington, describing Capitol Hill as bitter, divisive, and mean. During their news conference, President Bush explained why former President Reagan, who's suffering from Alzheimer's disease, could not be at the ceremony.
This disease is such that it would be impossible for him to be at a meeting like this and respond to your question. But I would confirm that his health, his physical appearance is just wonderful. And of course, he hadn't lost that wonderful, warm, kind way of dealing with people. It's just evident the minute you walk in the room.
President Bush also praised the Reagans for going public with the Alzheimer's diagnosis early in his illness, which Bush said helped raise the public's awareness and understanding of Alzheimer's. When we come back, NBC News In Depth tonight, a health problem that plagues millions of American families, asthma. What really causes it? What do you need to know, especially about your children? We'll have some answers in depth for you tonight. But first, from CNBC, let's take a look at what happened on Wall Street today.
It's in all of us, the basic human instinct to protect the lives we build. From our beginnings as the very first insurer of automobiles, to our wide-ranging protection options for homeowners, Travelers has answered this basic need. What we all want is what Travelers Property Casualty provides. Something to hold on to.
The Comfort Collection from Ethan Allen. Sofas and chairs stuffed with so much comfort, you may want to settle in till next spring. Hurry in. The Ethan Allen Spring Sale is on now.
Now at Pep Boys, get any 4 of our 35,000-mile all-season steel-belted tires at an incredible low $99. That's right, any size, any 4 35,000-mile tires, just $99. At Pep Boys now.
Hi, honey.
Hey, how's your checkup?
Fine.
Really?
Yeah, the heart's good.
And your cholesterol?
Good. You know, the doctor said the healthy diet is paying off.
See? You better keep eating those Cheerios.
As part of a heart-healthy diet, the FDA says soluble fiber from whole grain oat foods like Cheerios may reduce the risk of heart disease. Cheerios is the only leading ready-to-eat cereal that meets this FDA standard.
I always knew you had a good heart.
You did?
That's why I married you.
I thought you married me because I was good looking.
The one and only Cheerios.
NBC News In Depth tonight was taking another look at the family in this country, a potentially deadly condition that is causing a lot of parents heartache these days. It's asthma. It's much more than just an annoyance. Asthma is dangerous. It can even be deadly. It causes about 470,000 hospitalizations every year and about 5,000 deaths. And asthma is spreading at a frightening pace. What's the best way to treat it? Our in-depth report tonight from NBC Science correspondent Robert Reich.
Glenda Geraldo is an 11-year-old with asthma. Her mother has rushed her to the emergency room more than 30 times in her life, and each time she has spent 4 or 5 days in the hospital. Here at Jacobi Hospital in the Bronx, New York, asthma is a massive problem for children of all ages. It is an especially difficult situation in the inner cities, but it is a growing problem throughout the country.
In an emergency department such as ours, which is very busy, we see about 50,000 children a year. About 13%, just over 1 in 10 of the patients that we treat here is for asthma.
Asthma is increasing in every part of the country at an alarming rate. The number of cases has more than doubled in 15 years to more than 15 million.
The house dust mite is an insect that puts out an allergen.
6-year-old Nathaniel Harton is getting a skin test at the Johns Hopkins Children's Center to find out what makes his asthma worse.
That is the strongest positive skin test.
It may come as a surprise, but asthma is usually an allergic reaction to dust, pets, pollen, or other particles that cause some people to have a stuffy nose and runny eyes. But asthma sufferers get an inflammation in their lungs that restricts breathing. Here is the mystery. Allergens have always been around. So why the dramatic increase in asthma cases now? Many people assume that air pollution is a cause. But in the time that asthma cases have been going up, the air in most American cities has gotten much cleaner. Another theory is that people, especially young children, spend more time in closed indoor environments. Yet another theory is that because children are now protected from so many childhood diseases, their immune systems respond too forcefully to harmless particles in the air. But no one has the answer.
We do not know why, and that is one of the major problems that we're dealing with. There are several theories, but none of them has been proven.
Push on. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing.
Asthma care is improving. The preferred treatment now is to attack the condition early and aggressively with drugs that prevent the inflammation and others to open up the lungs. That approach can help keep children, even those with severe cases like Glenda Geraldo, out of the hospital. But the problem of asthma will not be solved until we understand why so many more children are getting it. Robert Bazell, NBC News, New York.
When we come back, the baby summit at the White House today. Why is it so important to stimulate a baby's mind right from the start? Also tonight, the Fleecing of America, why taxpayer money for crop insurance never made it to the farm.
This is Miracle Grow Lawn Food, the easy way to a beautiful lawn. It took years to develop these patented granules, but you'll start seeing results in just days. Miracle Grow promotes vigorous root growth, helps fill in thin spots to give you a thick carpet of beautiful green. If you like what Miracle Grow does for your garden, you will love what Miracle Grow Lawn Food does for your lawn. And now get rid of dandelions and other weeds with Miracle Grow Lawn Food plus weed control.
Uh-oh, sounds like it's constipated again.
To the castle! Don't let constipation turn you into a monster. Get Colix.
So then Doris is driving it, and she says, "But Elliot, I can't feel the road." And I said, "But what do you expect? It's a luxury car." Anyway, we then drive it down the road. Have you ever driven that?
Bored with traditional luxury? It could be time for the supercharged Bonneville, one of the world's most powerful sports sedans.
Do you drive a luxury car, Frank?
You bet your ascot I do. Luxury with attitude. The Bonneville by Pontiac.
Tried Axid AR yet? It's the only one that says right on its labeling it can prevent heartburn completely. That's something Tagamet HB200, Zantac 75, and Pepsid AC just don't claim. Axid AR. Proven it can prevent heartburn completely.
I'm lucky. I landed in the perfect place. My sister and I grew up here. My house, it holds all my memories. I had my practice here and raised my family here. But now there's so much I want to do, and I want to do it here.
Things don't have to change. Ask a Merrill Lynch financial consultant who can help with the plan and more ways to make the plan work than anyone else. The difference is planning. The difference is Merrill Lynch.
Hi, I'm Libby Weaver. Coming up next on Extra. He's a mob rat with a price on his head. Extra uncovers how Sammy the Bull has stayed alive so long. Then, exclusive details on Carolyn Bessette's search for work and family plans. Plus, Iceland's first fashion show. Next on Extra.
There's a message tonight from President Clinton and the First Lady to parents with young children. At a White House summit on early childhood development, they urge parents to spend as much time as possible talking and singing and reading to their babies. They cited the latest research that most key connections in the brain are formed during the first 3 years of life. Now to the Fleecing of America. Tonight, how did federal subsidies meant to protect farmers in times of crisis end up in the expense accounts of insurance agents? NBC's Robert Hager says it's a multi-million-dollar fleece.
Federal crop insurance is supposed to help farmers in times of disaster. Wheat fields covered by floodwaters, corn parched by drought, vegetables wiped out by hurricanes. But turns out some of the $500 million annual subsidy the government pays private insurance companies to offer the coverage is used for very different purposes. Insurance executives and agents spending the subsidy for trips to Las Vegas, rental of luxurious skyboxes at a big league stadium, and fishing trips to the Canadian wilds.
It's all in a report by the General Accounting Office, which says the amount of the subsidy is freely negotiated between the government and industry, but it's meant to cover the insurance company's costs of selling and servicing crop loss policies.
Instead, the report lists how insurance companies really spent some of the money. For that trip to Las Vegas, $22,000. For the ballpark skybox, $18,000. For the Canadian fishing trips, $44,000. For 1,300 boxes of gift chocolates, $17,000. For gift cookbooks, $8,000, all listed by the companies as expenses of selling or servicing crop insurance.
I think that the average taxpayer on the street would not be amused that their tax funds would be used in this way.
And more fees for insurance executives to enter golf tournaments, trips to amusement parks, money for child care, even pet care. Credit card expenses for a department store, $107. A country club gift shop, $105. A cruise line, $928. All listed as expenses for crop insurance. Insurance companies say this may look bad, but it's necessary for employee morale and to keep good agents. And under the rules say it's not illegal.
I don't know what the government does with their dollars. If that company elects to do whatever, then I'm saying that that's their business.
But the Agriculture Department says it'll now reduce the subsidy, what some call a fleecing that may have blown taxpayers away along with the crops. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
Now a look back to the day that America fell in love with a car.
Introducing the unexpected, the new Ford Mustang.
It was on this day in 1964 that Ford unveiled the Mustang. The price was right, just under $2,400. Baby boomers were ready for the sleek and sporty car with a big engine. For the last 33 years, 7.2 million Mustangs have rolled off the assembly line, roaring onto America's streets and into its heart.
What would you call a carpet store with more colors and styles of DuPont Stainmaster carpet, more expert advice and personal service, more than 750 locations with such huge buying power you're assured of paying less? Now, what if that carpet store gave you less to worry about with one of the best guarantees in the business and a free home design magazine for simply calling 1-800-CARPET-1? You'd have to call that One Great Carpet Store or Carpet One, where you always get more Stainmaster and always pay less. Call now for your free magazine in the store nearest you.
When you have heartburn and pain, these won't give you complete relief. Problems this bad need Alka-Seltzer, the only one with effervescent power to speed relief, plus the medicines to relieve all your symptoms. Alka-Seltzer, the 100% solution.
Dear Thompsons, I thought all waterproofers were the same, but I picked a real loser.
Other waterproofers don't work like Thompson's Water Seal waterproofer. Some don't work at all.
When I built my new deck, a contractor bud said, try Thompson's. I swear by it.
Contractors choose Thompson's 3-to-1.
Now when it rains, I can see the Thompsons working. You live, you learn. Howard Rayner, Anniston, Alabama.
Just out, Thompson's Fence Care. Protect and clean for not a lot of green.
Don't scrub that greasy stovetop yourself.
Yeah, right. I'll call the maid.
No, call in new Easy Off Kitchen Cleaner. It's self-scrubbing, so it eats through burnt-on grease. All you do is wipe.
I think I'll give the maid the day off.
New Easy Off Kitchen Cleaner.
Hey, how about a kiss goodbye?
Oh, yeah. Bye, Ralph. Bye, Mom.
Bye. Ralph's one of the family. Right, boy? So when our veterinarian told us about some of the things that can affect his health, we listened. Then she told us about HeartGuard Plus. Ralph loves the tender real beef chewables, almost as much as he loves playing with Bobby.
Ask your veterinarian about HeartGuard Plus, caring for the health of your dog.
Dateline Friday. Cut down in their prime. These people trusted the powerful company they worked for. Katie Couric with a frightening report. Computers, chemicals, and a pending courtroom battle. Dateline Friday.
Tonight, an unusual look at Washington from an insider who came as a longtime friend of the president, a physically small man with a big agenda for the working class, an appointment as labor secretary, and an ability to laugh at himself. Now, Robert Reich has returned to his family in Massachusetts, but he's given us Locked in the Cabinet, an instructive and insightful account of his frustrations and his triumphs. When Robert Reich visits Washington these days, he remembers his time there with a shrug and a smile. He remembers putting on a public face and thinking private thoughts. For example, a polite lunch with Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan, even though he considered Greenspan to be the Darth Vader of the working class. Reich imagined what he might have said.
Well, you can take your crummy lunch and cram it, you robber baron pimp. And he responds, go suck on a pickle, you Bolshevik dwarf.
Yes, he didn't actually say that, let me say for the record. Throughout the 4 years, I, like most people, I suppose, have a fantasy life. In fact, one enormous feeling I had on leaving office, which resulted in this book, was I wanted to just wave a wand and say, stop the bull.
Reich on Vice President Gore.
He's ponderous, where the president is playful. He's private, where the other one shares his feelings with everyone. Above all, Al Gore is patient, where President Bill Clinton wants it all right now.
Oh, I think they'll both recognize themselves and they will laugh a lot.
Reich reserved some of his strongest language for Dick Morris, the president's re-election consultant.
Dick Morris represents all that is bad about American politics, the cynicism, the manipulation, the selling that has nothing to do with real substance.
I am back home. It's a little bit like returning from outer space.
Now, Citizen Reich is out of government, free to speak his mind. He's still preaching economic justice for the working class.
Before I went down to Washington...
And poking fun at himself.
I was 6'2".
It's something he says more people in Washington should be doing. Robert Reich still is butting heads with the opposition, this time on public television. But often he thinks back about what surprised him in Washington, like Alan Greenspan, the head of the central bank, having dinner with Lane Kirkland, the head of the AFL-CIO.
That's what's so wrong about Washington, because it's very insular, very inbred, self-important. People talk to each other. It's like an echo chamber.
$75. What do we have over here? $100.
With a schedule full of charity events and public appearances and a promise to return to the classroom in the fall, Robert Reich says he's done with politics. But he hopes that he's left Washington with a little more humanity, humility, and humor.
Sold for $150.
And for all of his mocking comments, Reich says he has only the highest regard for some people who were his adversaries. Sometimes they did their job too well for his purposes. That's Nightly News for this Thursday. I'm Tom Brokaw. Night.
More Americans watch NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw than any other evening newscast. NBC News, now more than ever.